I'm joined by University of Central Oklahoma linebackers coach Jesse Harwell. Coach, thank you for taking time this afternoon to come on and talk to me. Could you start by telling the viewers and listeners out there a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, man. So I'm Jesse Harwell. I'm just started back at Central Oklahoma as our linebackers coach. I'm originally from Hawkins, Texas, a little small 2A down in East Texas over by Tyler, 903 East Texas. But from there, man, grew up small town, not a whole lot going on. Ended up walking on at Southeastern Oklahoma State, where I played linebacker for 4 years. After that, I always knew I wanted to go into coaching. Going into college, I actually thought I wanted to be a high school coach, and then I just got to see what that college atmosphere was like and pretty quickly decided I wanted to be a college coach. I was surrounded by some really good coaches in my time at Southeastern that kind of helped mold me in that light. So from there, once I graduated, I wanted to start my coaching career. I just started emailing any coach that I could find to get into that. And I ended up at Henderson State University as a graduate assistant who are actually in the same conference as Southeastern Oklahoma. I was there for about a year and a half before I came to Central Oklahoma for the first time. Then I was Missouri S&T, and I'm back here. But all in all, huge football fan. I'll sit there and watch. I leave work, then I go watch football. So that's all I want to ever do, man, is work in football. And that's largely what how my life is built, man. So.
Now you mentioned you grew up in small town Texas. Obviously, we know the sport of football is life down there. But talk about what was your experience playing football in a small town like that, where I imagine on game days everything is closed and the whole town is there.
Man, it's awesome. So my town, there's about 1,000 people in there, man. But on game days, it feels like there's over 1,000 people at the game. So you got a small stadium, man. It's completely packed out, shoulder to shoulder. Everybody knows everybody. Everybody knows what every player on the team's name is. They know exactly who their parents are. They know who their siblings are. And it's great because there's such a family atmosphere in that, and the fact that everybody knows everybody. Everybody wants everybody to be successful. And then where everyone talks about Texas high school football and how it's different, where Texas high school football is different than most places, I think, is the fandom of it. It's not necessarily that the football is so much better. It's not necessarily that the athletes are so much better. It's that the buy-in from communities across the board is so high. And it just really creates that strong atmosphere every single Friday night.
And I guess what kind of is your favorite memory or moment during your high school career?
So I don't know if I can really pinpoint a moment. What I will say is my brother, he's 1 year older than me. So got to play next to him for 3 of my 4 years of high school, man. So just going out there on Fridays and getting to play next to my brother, that was always a great time. He was probably a little bit better athlete than me. But I like to think I kept him in reins sometimes. He was a bit of a 15-yarder waiting to happen. But so my job out there, go be the brother that kept him out of trouble, coach on the field type stuff. But yeah, I don't know. I think when I think about pinpointing a single moment, I really don't know if I can. But just getting the opportunity to play with him, I was always blessed to do that with us being so close in age. So.
And then you mentioned that you decided to walk on at Southeastern. Now I know there's a lot of schools within the state of Texas. So how I guess first, what led you to decide to walk on, because that's not the an easy path at all. And then why Southeastern?
Yeah. So as far as the walk on goes, man, if I'm being completely honest, I wanted to be a college football player. I didn't necessarily have what the tools that most coaches are looking for to play in college football, but wasn't going to let that stop me. So I knew I was going to play college football. I wasn't sure where. I had a couple D3 opportunities. Ultimately, I decided to walk on at Southeastern Oklahoma State. Now, again, I just talked about playing with my brother in high school. My brother at that point was a scholarship player at Southeastern Oklahoma who was the starting fullback there. So I had family ties there. I'd met all the coaches while they were recruiting my brother. So I had good relationships with them already. And just for the opportunity to continue to go play with my brother. It was only 2.5 hours from home. So Southeastern's right across the border. So it wasn't too far. The only closer D2 at the time was Texas A&M Commerce, who have now went up to D1. So following family a little bit, I knew I wanted to play college football. I wasn't going to take no for an answer. I went to a tryout. They let me let me come on, man. So forever thankful for that opportunity. And it's helped lead me to where I am today.
And it's I guess what was probably the I don't know, maybe the hardest part about being a walk on a tryout guy. What kind of maybe was the biggest challenge?
I think just when you walk in day one, there's a certain expectation of things that you can't do rather than things you can do that you always deal with, right? So it's to prove yourself every single day, where the guys on the team, they want to see what you're all about and really want to know why you're here. And the coaches, sometimes at times, they understand that you have some limitations. So you got to show what you can do to help counteract those limitations, right? I was never going to be a 4'6" guy, no matter how hard I worked. I'm 5'8". I was never going to be a 6-foot linebacker. So showing that I could do things and provide some value to the football team as a guy that wasn't exactly what you're looking for as a backer, as a guy that wasn't a scholarship guy, right? How did I come in? How did I lead others? How do I help others improve? And how did I work the hardest to set myself up in position to, when coach needs somebody that he can count on, he knows he can count on me, because I may not have the tools, but I'm going to know what I need to do, and I'm going to do it as hard as I can, right? So I think earning the respect of the football team when you come in is walk on, and then just showing the coaches that you can do it despite not having the tools.
And you went from a tryout to your senior year. You were a team captain. What did earning that honor mean to you?
Man, it was so special. It really was. So I had a DC spring of junior year before senior year, who's actually now the DC at Missouri Western. So I'm excited to go see him later this year, actually. But phenomenal dude. Helped me out a ton. Just the 1 year that I had him as my defensive coordinator. But he told me during our extra interview after his first semester there was that spring and junior year. And he's like, look, man, as an attestament to you, he said, in scholarship football, where the leaders of the team are almost always the guy that's producing on Saturdays, that is the all-conference guy, the all-American. He goes, you have put yourself in a position to lead this team, even when you're not out there on the field. Now, couple things on that. Would love to have been on the field more, but I would have loved to have been the guy leading from the field. But understanding my role, there was guys that were better served to make plays on Saturdays than I was. But just the respect that the guys had for me and the respect that the coaches had for me to allow me to have that opportunity and be in that position, despite the fact that 4 years prior I was a walk-on. It was super special. Forever grateful for my time there and everybody that believed in me and put trust in me after I went in and earned it.
And when you look back on your time at Southeastern, what kind of sticks out to you the most about that experience?
Man, high energy. The energy levels there every day were awesome. I tried to take a lot of that into my coaching style. It was fun. Every single day, we were going to come out hyped for practice. In the weight room, we were going to be in there exciting. A lot of yelling, a lot of jumping around, but it's positive yelling, positive jumping around. Sean Cooper, who actually runs a gym now down in Southern Oklahoma, coaches a lot of the top athletes in Oklahoma, was our strength coach at the time, and he's one of the highest energy guys you'll ever meet. So he was setting the tone every day. Our defensive coordinator, Charles Burks, was a high energy guy, commanded a lot out of you, but it was going to be fun with him every single day, man. So that, honestly, that's the biggest thing, is just the culture. I absolutely love hanging out with the guys. That's what I want to do. That's how I enjoy spending my time with my linebackers now. I enjoy spending my time with the other linebackers when I was playing there. Even outside of football, right? Everyone knows the game of football is fun or should be fun, but building those relationships during practice and outside of practice, during games and outside of games, that's probably the biggest thing for me. So.
And you mentioned when you were getting into coaching, you sent out a bunch of emails. What kind of talk about how that process went from being a player to then ending up at Henderson State?
Yeah, so my last year playing was fall of 2019. Well, after fall of 2019 came spring of 2020. So that was a rough year. About 8 weeks into my final semester of college, school all cancels. They send everybody home, right? So I have about 8 more weeks of college. It's all online. I'm living with my parents. My dad actually, he runs a cabinet shop. So my dad told me if I'm going to be staying with him until I get a job after college, I'm going to be going to work. So I spent, when was it? Probably in March of that 2020 until August of 2020, working in a cabinet shop 5 days a week, in there at 5 a.m., leaving at 4 p.m. Every single day. And it's honest work. It's good work, man. I always have something I can fall back on, but I knew that wasn't for me. So as soon as I got my degree, I didn't really know how to get into coaching, truthfully. I knew that I had to start as graduate assistant, but I wasn't sure how do I get that graduate assistant opportunity. So what I did, I said, well, heck, I played in the Great American Conference. I guess I'm going to email every defense coordinator and head coach in the Great American Conference. Say, hey, I just finished up playing. I'm looking for an opportunity, right? Ultimately, I got 2 responses in that. East Central Oklahoma and Henderson State both told me I can come intern as a volunteer initially. So ultimately, I took the Henderson State opportunity. I was there as a volunteer for 1 semester. And then once one of the GAs left after that semester, I got hired on as a graduate assistant coach at Henderson State at that point, to where I was there as a graduate assistant for another 2 semesters before I got the opportunity here. So.
And what I find interesting is you were the assistant defensive backs coach. Now, obviously, we know you're established linebackers coach. So what was that experience like? Here's your first coaching job, and it's coaching defensive backs.
Man, I got a mean back pedal. That's No, at the end of the day, I always say if you're a good football coach, you're a good football coach. You can figure out how to coach a position, right? Now, my passion is linebackers. I absolutely love linebackers play. That's where I want to be. But coming in, they needed help at the defensive backs position. So they put me with Coach Cameron O'Neill, who is now at Oklahoma State, actually, with Coach Nardo and all of Coach Swanson's guys. But he was great for me. He taught me a lot. Our defense coordinator, Greg Hallsworth, really taught me how to be a college football coach, let alone not just DBs, but how to time manage what I need to do, how to get things done. Just all in all, my experience at Henderson State was how to be a coach, not necessarily becoming a defensive backs coach, if that makes sense.
And you mentioned the process of becoming a coach. I know when I talked to Coach Dumas, he mentioned that you think you know the game when you're playing, but then when you get into coaching, you realize you don't really know the game. What kind of was the toughest adjustment going from being a player to being a coach?
Problem solving, 100%. So when you're a player, the coaches walk in on the first day of a game week and say, here's the game plan, right? You trust them with the game plan. You have to learn the game plan, and you can learn indicators in football that tell me how to play faster, right? And that's great as a player. But when stuff goes wrong, and it will, how do you problem solve, right? Going from that player's lens to that coaching lens, I didn't know, well, the offense is running mesh with a rollout of the running back. What do you get in to stop that, right? Sure, I know what cover 2 is. I know what 3 is. I know what 4 is. But why am I using those coverages? Why am I using these different type of fits to stop a certain play? I did not know, right? I just knew that coach told me to run this, and I ran it, and it worked. But why? the why of what we're doing.
And you ended up that your year with Henderson State. There was 2 players in your unit that finished with all conference honors. I guess what did that mean to know you had a part in helping those guys have all conference seasons?
It was awesome. Definitely my first fall coaching to have a room that has 2 all conference guys in it. Now, at the end of the day, man, we can help these players along. All conference players are all conference players because they put in the work and they have talent to do it. So I helped them. I probably helped them off the field more than I helped them on the field, truthfully. They got on the field, man, and they just knew how to play football. They were good. They ran around. They made a lot of plays. And they continued to make plays after I left. So it was special. I love to see the accolades for my guys more so than – it's not a testament to what I'm doing. They're not all conference because of me. They're all conference because they put in the work and trust in what I give them. I'm going to try to give them the tools to do it, but they have trust in it. They have the work ethic and they have the tools to do it. So.
And when you look back on your time at Henderson State, I guess what kind of sticks out to you the most about your time there?
I have great relationships with the staff there. I just got off the phone with the defense coordinator at Henderson State. Literally, I talked to him about 10 minutes after practice about a scheme that they're trying to do right now that kind of fits along with what we're trying to do. So just the relationships of some of those guys and the trust factor that I've built with them to now 2 years later, their defense coordinator's calling me and asking me about things, right? Schematically, because I built that trust factor while I was there with him. And that relationship with him. Still have really good relationships with some dudes that aren't on staff there, and kind of a common theme you're going to hear me talk about within the game of football is building relationships with people. I love people. I love building relationships with people. And that's football is my avenue in which I do that, but that's not the primary focus. If that makes sense.
And so then how do we go from Henderson to your first stint at UCO?
Yeah, so I was about to graduate with my master's degree at Henderson State. Now, once you're a graduate assistant, you have your master's degree. It's time to go somewhere else. Our OC at the time used to always tell me, he said, "Your job right now is to get another job." So, being a GA there was awesome, but I hit my 2-year window where I was about to have my graduate degree. It was time to go find another job. Right now, ultimately, I wanted to go be a full-time coach, right? Because that's what everyone's searching for. But I had never ran my own position room at that point. I had spent a year and a half there learning how to be a college football coach. Now it was time for me to go be a college football coach. So I was looking for an opportunity where I could run my own position room, right? Preferably with linebackers. When Coach Dorrell got the job here, I didn't know anyone on staff, but obviously working for Coach Dorrell is a no-brainer. I had ties in Oklahoma. So I just sent in my application, just emailed my application right into Coach Donald, who I did not know at the times, now has since become one of my best friends. But he gave my resume to Coach Leck, and on my resume was a guy that Coach Leck worked with at Incarnate Word prior to coming here. So he called him, and he told him, he said, absolutely hire that guy. So Coach Watson, he had me while I was at Southeastern Oklahoma State as well. So those Southeastern ties helped me get this job. And really, I'm super thankful for Coach Watson telling Coach Leck, yeah, that's the guy. Go with him. Guy really didn't even have much of an interview process. Coach Leck called me about one time for about 30 minutes. He said, well, I trust Coach Watson to steer me straight. So he hired me, and I headed to Edmond, Oklahoma.
So now you get to Edmond and you're finally running your own room. What kind of was that leap from being a part of a room to now having your own room?
I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready. I came in that first spring, and there was a lot to learn. Now, when I talk about being forever thankful with some guys, Coach Leck, we would meet at the end of every single week. So when I got here, he would let me run my own position meeting. He would let me go run the individuals during practice. He would let me coach the guys. But he would always sit in the room, and he would just take notes. He'd just take notes. And then at the end of every week, he would actually meet with me and talk about, hey, these are some things you're doing really well. These are some things that we need to improve on until you're ready to really take that room on your own. right? So we did that for that entire first spring semester. And then after the spring, I met with them, and Coach Legg was like, I think you're ready to go run your own room now. So at that point in the summer and in the fall, he no longer sat in all my meetings. They were mine. He let me run it. He trusted me to run it. And I'm forever thankful for that. But I wouldn't have been ready to do that if he wouldn't have met with me every single week to develop me as a coach. The same way it's my job to help develop the players, it's our defense coordinator's job to help develop his position coaches. It's the position coach's job to help develop the graduate assistants, right? It's the head coach's job to help develop the coordinators, and it starts top to bottom. And if everyone takes that mindset of we're all developing the man below me, then we're eventually going to have a whole lot of coaches and a whole lot of players that play above the level of expected because they're developed to their position coaches are now developed to be a coordinator because the coordinator takes that under his role. The GAs are now developed to be position coaches because the position coaches took them under that role, right? And now you have a bunch of coaches that are a lot more prepared for big opportunities than otherwise. So.
Now, what I didn't realize is, aside from you being the linebackers coach, you also you were installing you were installing all individual meetings. You were assisting with Coach Curley with the special teams. You were assisting in coordinating campus visits. You helped in coordinating the video exchange and breakdowns. How did you do all that and still run your own room?
Well, I got pretty good at it. That's if I'm being honest. That's where my time back to Henderson State goes, right? I just told you for a year and a half I was learning how to be a football coach. I didn't necessarily I was not prepared to run my own position room. I was not prepared to go actually coach the game of football at a level that was going to get the guys ready to compete on Saturdays. But what I was prepared to do was all of the off-field stuff that I was going to have to do along with it. I got really, really good at that when I was at Henderson State. And then honestly, the video exchange, the video breakdown and all that was pretty easy for me at the point in which I took over the room. So I could time manage pretty well on that.
Now with the video exchange, like, how does that work? Because I know it used to be, I think even when I was still in high school, like you would physically exchange tape. Like there would be a tape or a DVD that you'd meet the other coach and physically exchange. But like we're in the digital age, so kind of how does that process work?
Yeah, we've developed a little bit. So if you have a closed conference, so if you have just all conference games, it gets a lot easier. But we have a conference pool in our huddle. So if I get onto my huddle and it says it'll just say exchange and it'll say direct pool, and under that, every single team in our conference is in there. So after every Saturday, after every game, we have to have that film uploaded into the pool by midnight. And as soon as we upload our film to the pool, we can then go pull the other team's film. So that's super simple. That's not difficult at all. Now, once it does get pulled, we have to break it down, right, in all of our terminology so we know how to really game plan it, right? Now, if you have a non-conference opponent on your schedule, then you actually have to reach out to them on huddle and be like, hey, send us your film, and then you do an exchange. Sometimes you'll send 4 games, sometimes you'll send 3, whatever you and the other staff agree upon from a film exchange standpoint. But within conference play, we have access to everybody's games, and they have access to all of our games. So it gets that's super easy.
And the breakdown, like how long does that take? Because I filmed in high school, I kind of assisted with that a little bit, and we would start like after the game, and like an hour or so, coaches would tell me to just go home, and they got it. I don't know what time they finished with that. So like, how long does that normally take?
Yeah, so I get that aspect. So I did all the uploading after our games and practices too. So as soon as our game was over, I was straight inside. The very first thing I was doing was putting chips in my laptop and uploading. Once that's all uploaded, I'd have to intercut it. And once it was intercut, then we had to do ODK, so offense, defense, special teams, and then down and distance in our columns. You had to fill that out before we put it into the conference pool. That's just the respectful thing to do, so they don't have to waste all their time doing it. But so that aspect of it probably took me an hour after the game, maybe an hour and a half, depending on how long it took for the actual data to upload. Now, as far as breaking down opponent formations, plays, motions, all that jazz, now that takes probably a few days during the week, and you try to get ahead. So if we have Missouri Western next week, but we're in Central Missouri week this week, in some of my free time, I'm going to go ahead and start breaking down that Missouri Western game. That way, I'm not even going to game plan or think about it at all, but I'm going to start putting that information in. That way, as soon as the game's over on Saturday, we finalize everything on Sunday. We can go straight to watching it. We already have all the data in, so we can get right into game planning.
Okay. Yeah, I think
but try to work a week ahead.
Okay. Yeah, I think that kind of gets lost in the grand scheme of things. Like, might not be known. There's a lot of work that goes into the film in order to prepare for it. So, because I know Coach Dumas was also the video guy for a period of time too. So it's just good to see from a video guy. It's like they think you just aim a camera, but there's a it's a whole lot more.
Man, video coordinators, that job everyone tries to avoid.
Stuff.
Somebody said, "Man, we need a video coordinator." You just kind of lean in the chair like.
Oh yeah.
Then if you have experience with it, they look straight at you, be like, "Oh, I know Coach Harwell could do it."
Everything was me. It was like every sport. Once they knew I would film, hey, would you mind filming so and so? I'm like, I guess.
Man, that's how it works. So I was the film coordinator at Missouri S&T last year when I was gone. So initially I went in and I was going to be the equipment manager. We were everyone's going to have an off-field role, right? So I went in, I was going to be the equipment manager, and then we had another new guy who had never done film before was our video coordinator, and it is really a lot to learn. And about halfway through the fall camp, our head coach was like, "All right, you have experience with film, right?" I said, "Yes, sir." He goes, "All right, you're the video coordinator."
Oh, that's tough. Like, you think you get rid of it, and then
finally graduated from the video coordinator life and comes right back at you.
Oh, well, okay. Now, do you have that role again now, or are you finally through with that?
Coach Neal, who took that role over when I left, he's still holding it down. I tried to teach him everything I knew, so I didn't have to take it when I came back.
Oh, that's good. You gotta pay it forward.
Pay it forward. No, Coach Neal's doing a good job. He doesn't need anyone to take over for him. He's got it held down.
Good. Now when you took over your room in 2022, obviously there was a coaching change, there was a scheme change. I think we ran a 4-2-5 the year prior to a 3-3-5. We also lost both starting linebackers from that year. So it was a great unknown about what to expect out of the unit. And your unit turned in a really good season between Blake Barone, Jason Harris had his healthiest and best season in a UCO uniform. Obviously, we know the type of season Noah West had. What kind of led to the success of your room in 2022?
Oh, buy-in and talent. That's it. I'm gonna give the guys the tools, but ultimately it's up to them to buy in and work, and they did that. Jason Harris went out there every single day. He's just a dog. He wanted to go hit something, and you know what? He was going to go do it. He bought into the scheme. Blake Barone, he came in, he transferred in. He had a ton of injury history in his career. Had never really at the college level played a ton of snaps due to some of his injury history, but he bought into what we're saying. Went out there, had high effort, had high attitude every single snap. Noah West, Connor Johnson, those dudes are just so talented, man. They erase a lot of issues. So they're extremely bought in. I was blessed to inherit an extremely talented room. And they went out there and worked every single day. I also think a 3-3-5 scheme, it's extremely friendly for linebackers. They are extremely fluid in what they can do. I'm not telling them, hey, you're a C gap defender, you got to be in the C gap. Ultimately, I want my guys to go make plays. We talk about it, production equals winning. If I have 3 linebackers on the field at any given time that want to go make the play, and they do it within the confines of the scheme, we're going to have 3 extremely productive linebackers. And I think the guys bought into that philosophy in 2022. And it turned out with a really good year. But ultimately, I was blessed to inherit an extremely talented room. They're all extremely intelligent, and they all worked extremely hard. So,
and when you kind of look back on that season, your first time running your own room, and to have the success that you have, what did that mean to you? Did it affirm, that like, okay, I belong as a coach? Like what kind of was the takeaway from that year?
yeah, so there's certainly a confidence booster aspect of it when you go out there and you see those successes, because I hadn't seen those successes at that point in my career as the head man, right? We talked about it. We had 2 all-conference kids in the room that I helped coach at Henderson State, but I was the assistant, right? I was still helping coaching them, but I was not the primary voice that was getting them ready to go for Saturdays versus coming in and being that primary voice that they're trusting in, right? If I tell them something, they have to believe it in order to be successful in doing it. So it just, it established that I do have a good enough connection with the guys when we talk about relationship building, that they trust in what I say. And it also establishes a confidence that I do know what I'm saying, and I do know what I'm saying when I am coaching, those guys. So there's a little bit of like I say, I'm just blessed that they were an extremely talented room, and then a confidence builder for me to know that I can absolutely coach at the college level and be successful doing it.
And then at some point after the season, you make your way to Missouri S&T. Now, how do we go from UCO the first time to Missouri S&T?
Yep. So talk about the phases of college coaching, right? I went in, I interned at Henderson State, and then I turned that into a graduate assistant at Henderson State, but I was an assistant the whole time, right? Then I get my graduate assistant opportunity at the University of Central Oklahoma, where I am running my own room, but I'm still that graduate assistant, right? I felt that at this point, I was ready to take on the role as a full-time college football coach, right? So I was looking for those opportunities. I absolutely loved it here. I didn't want to leave, but at the end of the day, I was seeking out that next opportunity to advance my coaching career, right? Now, the head coach over at Missouri S&T, he worked with and is really good friends with Tyler Fenwick, who I played for at Southeastern Oklahoma State and who is now the head coach at Missouri Western. So, again, I got a lot of ties with that staff over there, but Coach Fenwick knew I was looking for my first full-time job. Coach Fenwick knew me from the year that he had coached me at Southeastern Oklahoma State. I'd never worked with him or anything. He just knew what I was about from a work standpoint, from a emotional standpoint. And he told Coach Ball over there, who was looking for a linebackers coach at the time, that if he needed one, that he trusted that I could go get it done for him. And Coach Ball took a chance on me after Coach Fenwick told him that I could get it done. And I was blessed enough to get my first full-time job over there.
And you made the most of it because you had 2 of your linebackers, Nick Mattelli and Justin Amaro, to breakout seasons. I'm looking at what we got. One had 6.5 sacks, 13 TFLs for one, 10 TFLs for another one. What kind of led to the success of that unit last year for you?
Yeah. So again, a talented room that bought in. That's going to be my answer every time, man. At the end of the day, if they're not successful, that's on me. But if they are successful, that's on them. That's kind of my philosophy. I'm not out there playing, so I'm not the one that's going to go out there and make plays. They're the ones that are going to do that. And I have faith in the fact that they are going to do it. And to this point in my career, I've been lucky enough. I've been blessed enough to have consistent playmakers in my rooms. It didn't change at Missouri S&T. Justin Amaro is the guy that was very non-traditional in the way in his play style, but coaching him and trusting that he knew where some of his physical limitations were and where he was unorthodox, and just let him go out there and play fast. And he was extremely productive. At one point, he was first in the country in TFLs for like 4 weeks. But he ended up being an all-conference guy with multiple TFLs. Matt Berneisen was another one of my all-conference guys who was an extremely talented guy. I compare him a lot to like a Connor Johnson of maybe he's only 205 to 210 pounds, and people say he's too small to do it, but he just runs around, man. He knows how to get to the football. He's extremely fast, just sideline to sideline making plays. Then I had Nick Matley and Justin Njako, who Matley was a returning all-conference player. Justin Njako had never played at the D2 level. He's coming in from a JUCO, and they all just bought in. Again, it's a trust factor. They trusted what I told them, and they went out there and made plays. They ran around, high effort. And it was a great room to coach.
And when you look back on your 1 year down there at Missouri S&T, what stands out to you the most about that experience?
I think it was our turnaround. So that year did not go the way we wanted to. We actually started 0-5, which is never what you want, right? But we finished the year 4-6. So ended up winning 4 of our last 5 games and actually ended up finishing 3rd in conference. Because those first 4 games that we lost were all non-conference games. But when I look at it defensively, we're giving up, I think, a little over 30 points per game those first 5 games. And those last 5 games, we gave up right around 16 points a game. So I think, one, the ability for the guys to not lose focus and not lose faith while you're 0-5, it's tough. It's really tough when all the negativity is going around, not to start looking around and pointing fingers, right? But the guys didn't do it. As a staff, we didn't do it. We just kept working and kept working and kept working, and eventually we got it figured out and went on a low roll at the end of the season. And I think it's really easy when things are on top. What do you do when adversity hits? What do you do when things aren't going the way you think they should go? And the way our guys responded to that bad start to the season to finish the way they did was honestly one of the more impressive things I've seen as a college football coach, even more so than my year at Henderson where we went 9-2.
And so you then go from Missouri S&T back to UCO. So now how do we end up back in Edmond where you are now?
Yeah, so Coach Dorrell called me. Coach K was going to leave, go to UTSA, and Coach Dorrell was looking for a new strength coach, but he also wanted somebody that he knew could come in and coach the linebackers. So kind of a difference. In 2022, I was coaching the linebackers. We had Coach Sanders with the D-line and Coach McGuire with the DBs, and Coach Leck kind of float and really just and help everybody as needed as a coordinator. In 2023, Leck had to then coach the linebackers with me gone, so he couldn't float as much. And I think ultimately Coach Dorrell was looking to kind of get back to what we looked like in 2022 from a staff structure standpoint. And I had a background in a strength and conditioning standpoint as well. So he trusted me to come in and take over the strength program as well as take over the linebackers. And when he called me, I absolutely love it here. I love it in Oklahoma. My brother lives down in Purcell, about 45 minutes from here. And he's already been brought up a few times. He's a big part of my life. I enjoy being able to see him. Edmond's a phenomenal area. Obviously, to get to come back and coach Connor Johnson, Noah West, and some of those guys, Jack Puckett. That's a no-brainer, right? When you talk about getting blessed with an extremely talented room that can go make a lot of plays. And that's just 3 guys off the top of my head. But top to bottom, I think we're extremely talented with a bunch of guys that have a lot of buy-in. They trust what I have to say. And I was excited to come back. Absolutely loved my time in Missouri S&T. I hate that I only got to stay with those guys for a year because I feel like there's a lot that we still could have done with that group that I could have done with that group and the relationships I built there. But it was too good of an opportunity to come back for me to pass up.
And in doing so, because you mentioned Jack Puckett, right? Like, yeah, I feel like that was a part that you helped recruit him. There was already connections there. So not having to, I feel like, start from ground zero in terms of relationships. Some of those guys know you had success under you. So when you did get back, what kind of was the like, was there a big adjustment, or was it almost like business as usual from that standpoint?
From a football standpoint, it was very business as usual. I came back right in the middle of recruiting, so like get right back into it. But I already know what we have to offer here, right? So I didn't have to take the time and learn what Coach Dorrell's about, what the University of Central Oklahoma is about, what we have to offer, right? I already knew what Coach Dorrell's about. I knew what our culture is. I knew what Coach Leck was about. I knew what his culture on defense was, and I knew exactly what we had to offer. Sorry, it's starting to get bad out there. Look, I knew exactly what we had to offer as universities. I could jump right back into that. As far as my relationships with the guys, I don't think I took a huge step back. I made sure to reach out to them for the most part over the last year, just check on them. I would check their stats on Saturday, like, hey, man, heck of a game. I would call them, just make sure life was good. They would call me, truthfully, more than I'd call them. So I think that's kind of a part of the relationships that I had with them. So when I walked in the door, I like to think they're pretty excited, but and that's top to bottom, right? Because I was here in the recruiting class right before I left. I left 2 weeks after National Signing Day with Kaysen Bird and Reese Roller, Ethan Stites, Eric Macklin, and all those guys that are going to be awesome players, man. 3 or 4 practices watching them in the spring. I'm so happy that I came back. Really pat myself on the back with the recruiting portion of those guys. I was like, man, whoever brought these guys in, he did a really good job. No. But as some young cats they're coming up, right? Just finished up their first fall, coming into the spring, getting to coach those guys, right? Because like I said, I was at Henderson for a year and a half. I was only here for a year, and I was only at S&T for a year. So I haven't gotten really the chance to coach a bunch of dudes that I really recruited and really develop them from freshmen on. So to have that opportunity to come in and coach some of these guys that I had been a part of recruiting was also a huge thing for me. Right. It's really easy to go coach extremely talented kids, but can I take a freshman and really develop them? Well, to this point in my career, I really haven't had that opportunity. And now, like, pros and cons, I haven't had that opportunity because I keep getting opportunities to advance my coaching career. But I was so excited to come back here and get to coach that group of guys that I've recruited and help develop them and really try to get the most out of them that I can. And I'm glad that they trust me to be able to do that.
And what have you seen out of your unit so far during spring practice?
Athletic. They run really well. They make a lot of plays all over the field. Again, they make coaching pretty easy. I tell them what to do and they just do it. So, no, I mean, they're an extremely intelligent group. Everyone talks about how well they run, how well that they can go hit. They're big, they're strong, they have length. They're an extremely intelligent group. So we're giving them a new scheme right now in the spring with Coach Swanson coming in, and it is very similar to what we're doing, but it's a lot of different terminology and some different looks at some things, and they're picking it up extremely well and going out there and playing with confidence.
And what do you hope to see from that unit as spring progresses?
They're picking new scheme up extremely well, but just continue and develop that. By the time we get to that spring game, we need to be extremely confident in everything we see to play. If I'm not confident, I'm going to play slow. I'm not going to make plays. Doesn't matter how fast I am. If I'm not playing with confidence, you're going to be hesitant and you're not going to be able to go be as productive as we want, right? So just with the new scheme, they just need to continue to develop confidence that when they see something, they know exactly what they're looking at, and they don't have to think at that point. They're just going out there and using the tools that they have to make plays.
Well, before we get you out of here, we do this with all the new guests, kind of some more get to know you type questions. And I know you mentioned you're a football guy through and through. Do you have a favorite team?
The Dallas Cowboys, baby. It's already here. It's already here.
wait, I have to
America's
ask
team,
this.
baby.
I have to ask, as a Cowboys fan, with the offseason so far has not been good. You have faith they can turn it around, whether it's the draft, whether they uncover some free agents. Can they salvage the offseason?
Got to be the draft. Look, I don't feel great, but the Dallas Cowboys have drafted pretty well over the years. I think they haven't been very good in free agency. So they just said, you know what? Let's do away with that free agency. We draft pretty well. We'll see. We got some holes to fill, but I'm excited. I live through the Cowboys, man. They'll ruin a weekend for me.
Yeah, I had to ask now. Which side of the Dak line are you on? Is he the guy that can lead them to the Lombardi, or is he just a good but not great guy that's not going to get you to that level?
God, that's a tough one. I go back and forth because I generally feel like if they provided an elite game, like when you had Ezekiel Elliott in his prime, that a Dak Prescott right now could get it done. I think if you're asking him to go throw it 40 times in a game and put the team on his shoulders, he can't do that. But he is an elite leader. And I think if you're an elite leader and you have the tools around you, I think he can ultimately get it done. Now, the San Francisco 49ers are absolutely loaded right now. They're going to be tough in the NFC for years to come. But, gosh, I don't think you pay Dak $60 million. I think you pay him $40 million and you keep him. If he'll take 40, you got to give him 40. If not, I don't know. Maybe draft Michael Penix and sit him behind him this year. And if he walks, he walks. But I don't think he's good enough to give $60 million to, because then you're sacrificing some tools. I do think he needs to be successful.
Okay, that makes sense. Let's see your favorite hobby outside of football.
Favorite hobby outside of football? I like to go kayaking. So if I got some time in the weekend, I got a kayak at the house, I'll just go put it in the water. I'll float for a while. Sometimes I'll fish, sometimes I won't. Sometimes I just like to go out there, float, listen to a little music, and relax.
Okay. Now, while we're on the subject of music, do you have a favorite artist?
Favorite artist? Oh, I go all over the place with my music, man. I listen to a little bit of everything. Man, let me pull up the Spotify real quick. Drew a blank. Let me see what I got here. So, you want me to pull an artist from my R&B mix? You want it from my country mix? My pop
Whichever
mix?
one. Whichever one. Whichever one.
I do love me some Alicia Keys.
Okay.
Big Alicia Keys. I like Leon Bridges. Boys to Men. It's always good. If I go over to the pop side of things, I really like James Blunt. He's solid. You know, I like the occasional Justin Bieber. You know what? Sue me. Rihanna always hits different. Zach Bryan, obviously coming in the country realm, he's doing some really good things. Luke Combs, obviously, if you want to throw it back, I do like me some Willie and some Waylon. Little Johnny Cash never hurts anybody. Like I said, I'm all over the place. You want to get rock? I do like some Slipknot, a little bit of System of a Down. You know.
Judging by
J.
that,
Cole guy. What?
Okay. Now judging by that, it seems like J.K. would be your guy to go to for R&B. I know he's a big R&B guy, big Alicia Keys guy. And I think Hunter would be your guy for country. I know when he came on, he had this big rant of new country, old country, red dirt, how people don't know the difference. It was a beautiful spiel. It was a fantastic spiel. But I know that's your guy you want to go to for country music, because apparently he's cream of the crop.
Now I think Carney for the rock music.
Yeah, I've been told Carney's got some good rock.
Yeah. I got to put Swanson for the rap music. That's his thing.
Okay, now where do you fall on Because every time I ask a player their favorite artist, it's either The Baby or Little Baby. And there has to be more than those two out there. Now, like what Coach Dumas told me is they're good for getting you hyped. Which
They
I
are.
guess in the grand scheme of things, that's what you would need before the game or in
Yeah,
the weight room.
See, I got the Bruno Mars pregame. I got my beats on, looking like I'm getting ready, but I'm really just listening to Bruno Mars, just right here, just straight Bruno. I'm a little Coldplay.
I think that still beats Peyton. Peyton Scott would listen to like James Brown before games.
Hey, I respect it. I respect his game.
I was like, Peyton, now. Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, then right before kickoff, I put on like some Ghosty Mane or something. You probably don't even know who that is.
I have no clue.
Yeah, that gets a little aggressive. I gotta stay calm right up to about kickoff, right before kickoff. Spike it. Yeah. Trigger that inner like switch that linebackers have to have, get a little crazy. Shotgun a Red Bull or something.
Oh, that's great. Let's see. Okay, do you play video games at all?
I don't. Truthfully, his little brother, my brother just used to whip my tail growing up. I had to retire the video games at a young age.
Yeah, okay. I respect it.
I can't do it. I don't have fun. I get bored. I'm a little antsy. Mm-hmm. Can't just sit there all day. I know the rest of the staff, they're all on the game.
Yeah, because it does take time to master. Yeah.
I'm probably gonna watch a TV show while they all game.
I can respect that. Okay. Now what's your favorite TV show?
Oh, there's levels to this, right? I like all kinds of things. I just finished up Vikings. Vikings was really good. I'm a huge Peaky Blinders fan. Peaky Blinders was really, really good. But I mean, I'll go watch The Vampire Diaries, How I Met Your Mother. I don't really like The Office. That's my hot take. I don't think The Office is very good. But I don't know. I might have to put Peaky Blinders up there towards number one. That Peaky Blinders was.
Okay. I can respect that. I'm not a big Office guy either, so yeah, I'm in the same boat. People look at me crazy like I just cursed out their mother, and it's like, bro,
every time.
It's just not. Time. It's like it's just not for me. I tell you. Let's see. Okay, your favorite food.
Favorite food. Probably just a good cooked steak.
Okay, now are we rare, medium rare, or well done?
A nice rare bone-in ribeye, baked potato,
okay,
some butter, and some green beans and bacon in them.
Okay.
And a roll.
That's a solid meal. Okay. That's a solid meal. Let's see. Do you have any pregame routines that you normally do?
So I always wear a different shirt in pregame than I do during the game. So we finish up pregame. I normally wear a gold shirt on game day. I'll wear a white shirt for pregame. Then I come into my office, I change shirts, I pound an energy drink, and I hit a smelling salt. And then I yell, "Let's go." There's a word in between that, but just let's go. Just in my office as loud as I can. And then I walk out and I'm ready to go. So it's pound energy drink. It's change shirt, pound energy drink, smelling salt. Let's go. And it's time to rock.
Okay. I can fully respect that. I mean, hey, you gotta get right, in order to go out there.
I keep it calm all day with some nice slow jams. And then right after we finish pregame, I'm upstairs, and that's really when I set it off, like 10 minutes before kickoff.
Okay. I like that little slow build up. You gotta
Calm
work
before
your
the
way
storm,
up to it.
baby. I played for the
Right.
Savage Storm, so I know all about the calm before the storm.
Oh, that's great. That's great. I guess my final question for you is, what can UCO fans expect to see out of your linebacker unit this upcoming season?
A group that's bought in. They're going to run to the football every single play. Whether they make a mistake or they're right, they're going to play with confidence and get to the ball. They should see a productive unit because they believe in what they see and they trust it, and then they go make a play on the football. But just a confident, aggressive unit that's fast and physical and plays with a relentless effort every single play. I want to have to rotate the backers because we're getting tired because we're playing with such a high effort. And we have enough linebackers in our room that can play at a high level on Saturdays that we can do that. So let's give everything we have every single play and go have a fun year. I want my guys to celebrate plays too. I want them to go run around and make a big play, and I want them to stand up and go celebrate with their teammates. So have fun. At the end of the day, a unit that has fun but plays football the right way.
Okay. Well, Coach, I appreciate you taking time this evening to come on and talk to me. I'm wishing you the best of luck the rest of spring practice. Hope to make it out there for the spring game. And any time you want to come back on, you're more than welcome to.
Awesome. I appreciate you. It's good finally getting on. I know we tried the first time I was here.
No, I know. I know. People, I feel like it's been like, so we tried this last year, and then the timing didn't work. You went to Missouri SCT, and we've tried several times this year. It was like fate did not want this interview to happen.
No, it was fighting it all the way there. I'm glad we finally got it. I'm glad I finally got on though. It's good for the fans to know, kind of, I think, meet the coaches, know what we're about. Hope they can see that I'm kind of a high energy guy. I like to laugh. I like to have fun. That's kind of my coaching style too. I'm not a big yeller. I want my guys to have a lot of fun playing the game because I have a lot of fun coaching the game. So those are kind of my vibes, man.
Well, that's good. I was told that when it was announced you were returning, that was a very happy group of linebackers. So I know from what I've been told, they greatly enjoy playing for you. I know a lot of the fans out there have a great respect for you, the way that your unit plays. And so yeah, I'm glad we're able to get this on because it has been requested. So, but I'm glad we were finally able to link up here and get this done.
Oh yeah, for sure, man. I appreciate you.
No problem. Thank you, Coach.
Yep.